I'm Jack Fink. Welcome to a special edition of Eye on Politics from the Texas Capitol, where state senators are now debating whether to acquit or convict suspended Attorney General Ken Paxton of impeachment. And right behind me, the Senate chamber is now closed to the public, where the 30 voting senators are deliberating in private. The embattled Attorney General returned to the Senate chamber this morning to watch the closing arguments. It was his first time at the trial since the first morning of the first day early last week. As senators, the jurors who will decide his political fate, entered the chamber, Paxton occasionally turned to look at them. His wife, Senator Angela Paxton of McKinney, has been required to attend the trial but can't join senators in the deliberations. Among those watching the closing arguments, 3 of Paxton's former top deputies, Ryan Vassar, Blake Brickman, and David Maxwell, who went to the FBI as whistleblowers to report their concerns. Paxton's lead attorney, Tony Busby, and the chair of the board of the House Impeachment Managers, Republican State Representative Andrew Murr, tried to convince senators to vote their way.
Mr. Paxton's advisors were excited about what the office was doing for Texas. They circled around Mr. Paxton and worked diligently to advance the promises that he had made to voters. The travesty is that Mr. Paxton's desire to deliver results for Nate Paul eventually tore the office apart. It metastasized and overwhelmed the office. When it came to Nate Paul, Ken Paxton abandoned and betrayed his trust in knowledgeable staff, his conservative principles, and his commitment to family values, the law, and his oath of office. He repeatedly demanded that his top deputies act as Nate Paul's personal lawyers and not the state's lawyers. He gave the keys to the office. His lawyers have come in here and tried to normalize his behavior. They are not denying that Ken Paxton did any of the acts alleged. Instead, they want you to believe there was nothing wrong with Mr. Paxton ignoring his senior staff's repeated warnings about Nate Paul.
If this can happen to him, it can happen to anyone. Now, you heard when we started this case, you heard in the media that the evidence is 10 times worse than the public knows. But what a farce that was. What a farce that was. What we have seen instead is a bunch of supposition, mights, maybes, could have been. That's what we've seen in this trial. The very first witness they brought to you, the very first witness they brought to you, it's not working, crumbled under oath. Do you remember? Do you remember Jeff Mateer? Crumbled under oath. So what is this case about? It's about nothing. It's about nothing. Think about it. They failed to gather all the evidence. They failed to review their own evidence.
And as they deliberate, senators will not be allowed to use their cell phones or talk to their staffs. And Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick told them he will give them until 8 o'clock tonight. And if not, they don't have a decision, they can come back starting at 9 a.m. tomorrow. And that will continue through the weekend. And if they still haven't reached a decision by late Sunday night, the Lieutenant Governor told them he may sequester them and they may have to sleep right here in the Capitol. Senators will be considering 16 of the 20 articles of impeachment first. Then they'll decide whether to drop the remaining 4 articles. Senators will cast their votes on each article of the impeachment publicly. 21 votes or a 2/3 majority are needed to convict Paxton on any one article of impeachment. Senator Paxton is not allowed to vote because of her conflict. If convicted, Paxton will be removed from office. Senators could also vote to disqualify him from holding state office again. If acquitted, Paxton will return to office immediately. If Paxton is convicted and removed from office, the Texas Secretary of State's office tells me Governor Greg Abbott will appoint an attorney general, and there will be a special election in November of 2024. And the winner of that election will serve the remainder of the term through 2026, when there will be another election. I'm Jack Fink, Eye on Politics. Stay tuned for CBS News Texas for the latest on this historic impeachment trial of suspended Attorney General Ken Paxton.